A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to films I should have talked about years ago. And now, I'd say it's time that we get to Walt Disney again, because they have a lot to offer at this point. Even very obscured, lost, rare hits are still up on Disney Plus. And I was able to check one out in particular that stars the likes of Ben Stiller. If you can remember the Night at the Museum trilogy, or the Fockers trilogy, then Ben Stiller has actually made it big. Well, not quite as big as with other films, but in 1995, he, along with Judd Apatow and many others, would star in a film known as Heavyweights. This in particular was one of those many pieces of media to act as a warning to society that if they don't change their eating habits, if they stop having fast food, if they don't do anything at all, then they will have to go through a lot just to ensure that their health is in the balance. Particularly what we have here is a kid named Jerry, whom is seen as overweight by his family and is told that he should go to a local summer camp. One that happens to have a large lake, lots of activities, and other such things that the television commercial makes it look fun and entertaining for him to be around during the summer. So when he leaves school in time for summer vacation, that's the very first thing that pops up. Concerns about his weight, his eating habits, and whatnot, and he gets sent over there like nothing ever possible. So right off the bat, it's a bit of a cruel statement because a lot of people these days just have a huge tendency to want to binge on stuff. And I only say that it's cruel because a lot of people don't have very much sympathy. And for the mid-90s, this seemed very appropriate to actually show the true colors of that one entire decade. It sure was nothing like what we got in the last decade, but man, the 90s proved to be just as terrible in that field. Well, anyways, Jerry does come across lots of people that are exactly like him. And the original owners of the lake campground, unfortunately, had run out of money to maintain it. They were able to turn it over to a brand new owner. An owner who happened to be a well-known gymnast played by Ben Stiller. He did a lot of acrobatics for the kids. He did a lot of incredible stuff that would normally entertain them every now and then, like a magic show at your kid's birthday party. But in this case, what Ben Stiller does is he basically starts a huge fat campaign. As in what he does, instead of what the television commercial basically calls a nice relaxing joint for kids to entertain, play around, every other such way you look at it, like all commercials should be doing at this point, because that's how they profit. What Ben Stiller's method is simply allowing the kids to go through extreme exercise regimens. Very hard, strenuous work, of all things considered, just to make sure that they don't have any health problems going forward. Arguably, this could be something helpful, but in this case, they make it look like a huge, cruel, insignificant garbage haul. And I only say this because Ben Stiller in this film is such a jerk. I mean, I don't know how he got this successful later on, but I'm sure as heck glad that he did so much better over time. Because here, he's probably as bad as Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket. No joke. Of course, everything that happens causes the kids to really want to try and head back home, away from the camp, away from this so-called slave ownership that Ben Stiller tries to put up as hard as he possibly can. They make them go on all sorts of exercise regimens, including huge jogs around the campground and large hikes and tons of other unique stuff that many of us would find healthy in many ways. But these were, in fact, just kids. So it was kind of obvious that they didn't have all the energy that they could ever possibly have compared to many of us. And what's even more compounding on this part is that they don't have much of the energy because of their weight. But I really do have to admit, probably the best part is when the camp owner starts searching each of the cabins that the kids are in. And it turns out the kids have themselves a lot of snacks. I really love how this huge raid takes place, where the guards and leaders and other such personnel whom are responsible for the kids themselves, they're basically digging through everything. They're going through the beds, they're going through backpacks, they're going through boxes, they're going through coolers. They're even searching the insides of the walls and in the furniture. Like, they pick apart everything. They make sure nothing is left behind. Even inside kids' clothes. Even in their mouths. Even in the inside of a bed leg. Literally. They go through the bed legs and they find meat sticks. That is awesome. It just goes to show that nobody should ever take any kind of chances when it comes to searching through people's property and whatnot, and to go through every possible square inch of any house or other such building that they're occupying. Now that pretty much is what should be the biggest part of the whole film, but of course, what we see eventually is by the end of the movie, Ben Stiller tries one last time to incorporate healthy dieting, lots of exercising, and other such cruel, big, torturous parts of the kids' lives. So much so that he actually goes and smashes stuff on the floor and walks on it barefoot. Again, I hardly see any reason to go watch this movie other than just the sheer curiosity of it, where a fat camp is ran by incredibly selfish and irresponsible jerks. Ben Stiller really hit it big with this one. 5 years before Meet the Parents, and he was just as bad then. But Heavyweights really made him look like a terrible person. He basically made him look like a predator almost. Not of the sexual variety, thankfully, but of course, what can I possibly say about Heavyweights 1995? Scoring would probably have to be a 5.8. That's probably it. I don't see much other reasoning behind this, and I certainly won't have a lot more to talk about here. But any way you look at it, with a low box office, a somewhat low budget as well, a not so well played cast, and a plot that seems more like a torture device than a lesson to learn, makes Heavyweights something that Disney probably should have never made. Period. Well, anyways, though, I'm glad to get this one out of the way as well. So be sure to check in tomorrow for another installment of films I should have talked about years ago. And if you want to see more, go down to my channel to make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.